Monday, October 6th. Monday, October 6th. And our title for Monday, October 6th says value in unexpected places. Value in unexpected places. And we are going to read Joshua chapter 2 verse 2 to 11, Hebrews chapter 11 verse 31, and James chapter 2 verse 25. And as we read, we need to ask ourselves, what do these texts tell us about Rahab? What do these texts tell us about Rahab? So let us begin with Joshua chapter 2 verse 2 to 11, which says, Joshua chapter 2 verse 2 to 11 says, And it was told the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, men have come here tonight from the children of Israel to search out the country. Number 3, so the king of Jericho sent to Rahab, saying, Bring out the men who have come to you, who have entered your house, for they have come to search out all the country. Then the woman took the 2 men and hid them. So she said, Yes, the men came to me, but I did not know where they were from. And it happened as the gate was being shut, when it was dark, that the men went out. Where the men went, I do not know. Pursue them quickly, for you may overtake them. But she had brought them up on to the roof and hidden them with the stalks of flax, which she had laid in order on the roof. Number 7, then the men pursued them by the road to the Jordan, to the fords, and as soon as those who pursued them had gone out, they shut the gate. Now before they lay down, she came up to them on the roof and said to the men, I know that the Lord has given you the land, that the terror of you has fallen on us, and that all the inhabitants of the land are faint-hearted because of you. For number 10, for we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were on the other side of the Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. Let us also check out Hebrews chapter 11 verse 31. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 31. And Hebrews 11:31 says, By faith the harlot Rahab did not perish with those who did not believe when she had received the spies with peace. And James chapter 2 verse 25. James chapter 2 verse 25 says, Likewise, was not Rahab the harlot also justified by works when she received the messengers and sent them out another way? So central to Rahab's story is the lie told to protect the spies. In considering her lie, we have to realize that she was embedded in a society that was extremely sinful, which finally led to God's decision to judge the society. And so we are going to check out in Genesis chapter 15 verse 16. Genesis chapter 15 and verse 16. Genesis 15:16, which says, 15:16 says, But in the 4th generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet complete. Let us also check out in Deuteronomy chapter 9 verses 5. And 9 verses 5 says, It is not because of your righteousness or your uprightness of your heart that you go in to possess their land, but because of the wickedness of these nations that the Lord your God drives them out from you before you, and that he may fulfill the word which the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And let us also check out the Leviticus chapter 18 verse 25 to 28. Leviticus chapter 18 verses 25 to 28, which says, For the land is defiled, therefore I visit the punishment of its iniquity upon it, and the land vomits out its inhabitants. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, either any of your own nation or any stranger who dwells among you. For all these abominations the men of the land have done who are before you, and thus the land is defiled, lest the land vomit you out also when you defile it, as it vomited out the nations that were before you. And so the writer says, central to Rahab's story is the lie told to protect the spies. In considering her lie, we have to realize that she was embedded in a society that was extremely sinful, which finally led to God's decision to judge that society. And we checked that out in Genesis chapter 15 verse 16, Deuteronomy chapter 9 verse 5, and Leviticus chapter 18 verse 25 to 28. While it is true that the New Testament commends her faith, a careful analysis of the New Testament references to Rahab's act reveals that none endorse everything about her and none validate her lie. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 31 confirms her faith in casting her lot with the spies instead of choosing to hold on to a corrupt culture. Genesis chapter 2 verse 25 says, commends her offer of lodging to the two Israelite spies and for giving them directions on how to return by a safe route. In the middle of the decadent, corrupt culture and Rahab's own sinful lifestyle, God in his grace saw a spark of faith through which she could have saved her. God used what was good in Rahab, which was manifest faith in him and in her choice to belong to his people. I will repeat that statement. In the middle of a decadent, corrupt culture and Rahab's own sinful lifestyle, God in his grace saw a spark of faith through which he could save her. God used what was good in Rahab, which was manifest faith in him and in her choice to belong to his people, but never commended everything she did. God valued Rahab for her exceptional courage, for her brave faith, for being an agent of salvation, and for choosing Israel's God. After seeing what was happening, she declared, "For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and on earth beneath." And that is according to Joshua chapter 2 verses 11. It's significant to hear a Canaanite woman acknowledging that Yahweh is the only God, especially on a roof where in her pagan religion prayers were usually offered to what they believed were celestial deities. The expression of Rahab is previously found only in the context of God's exclusive right to receive worship. And we can see that in Exodus chapter 20. In Exodus chapter 20 verses 4, which says, "You shall not make for yourselves a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth." That was Exodus chapter 20 verse 4. And Deuteronomy chapter 4 verses 39. Deuteronomy chapter 4 verses 39, which says, "Therefore know this day and consider it in your heart, that the Lord himself is God in heaven above and on earth beneath. There is no other." Let us also check out Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 8, which says, "You shall not make for yourselves a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is on earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth." And so her words bear witness to a premeditated, conscientious choice to acknowledge that God of the Israelites is the only true deity. Her confession demonstrates her understanding of the close relationship between God's sovereignty and the judgment under which Jericho is doomed. Her moral choice recognizes that in light of Yahweh's judgment, there were only two possibilities. One, to continue to rebellion against him and be annihilated, or to choose to surrender in faith. By choosing the God of the Israelites, Rahab became an example of what could have been the destiny of all the inhabitants of Jericho had they turned to Israel's God for mercy. I will repeat that statement. By choosing the God of the Israelites, Rahab became an example of what could have been the destiny of all the inhabitants of Jericho had they turned to Israel's God for mercy. And the big question for Monday is, what does this story teach us about how God must have our ultimate allegiance? I will repeat. What does this story teach us about how God must have our ultimate allegiance? And that was Monday, October 6th, and the title was Value in Unexpected Places.